Jason?
Good afternoon, how are you?
I'm okay, how are you?
Not too bad, thanks. I don't know, I'm sure of the countless interviews that you have done in the last 2.5 years. I was, I think, the only South African interview you did 2.5 years ago.
And here we are again.
Yeah, which is fantastic. I must admit, I didn't think we were going to get lucky this time because, as the album was coming out, I was obviously, pushing for an interview. Because I got myself into a lot of trouble on the last one. You see, I wrote it up and I syndicated it to everyone, and they all read
it. Did you? Fair enough.
So you got good press on the back of that.
Fair enough.
But how are you otherwise?
I'm pretty good.
That's good. It's so good to speak to you again, and obviously congratulations on a phenomenal album.
Thank you.
An obvious one is to say I've actually drafted a couple of pieces already for various publications, and just going through all of it, I classified, for lack of a better word, but the album as being sort of probably your most sort of relaxed, most as much as there are issues there, not as heavy.
Hooray, hey?
Do I get it?
Hooray.
Yes, well, yes. And I must admit, the opening line was that everyone who buys your albums can never profess to truly understanding where you're coming from. On this album, I think there's a chance, yeah?
I think there's definitely a chance, but no more than that. They wouldn't like it if I gave them any more than that.
No, because I mean, the thing is that it's almost as if you've taken a step back, and it's just sort of as much as it's you've said a lot of things on the albums up till now. This is an album where you've there's an enjoyment factor over and above obviously the issues.
I think something happened after I lost the baby where in a strange, this might sound very strange and you might have to interrogate me on this, but my relationship with the deities became much more liberating because they were all taken off my altar. And, it didn't happen with a lot of fanfare. I mean, it didn't happen with much noise. It was just, I just looked at my altar and realized, no, you're actually a table that just spaghetti sits on and waits for when I have a late night, and that's about it. It doesn't mean I don't believe in the deities. That's not at all what I'm saying. It's just the deities do their job, and sometimes I agree with them, and sometimes I don't. And they do their gig like you, and I do my gig, and they just happen to be deities. And I think, no ridiculous promises on their part, so that your heart gets broken. And I'm sure my heart will get broken many times, but probably more by humans now than deities.
But then again, you've always seemed to be, seemed to come across as being the ultimate pessimist,
I think I'm the ultimate realist.
Yes, and absolutely. I mean, it works both ways, doesn't it? But
I mean, I think if you're going to crash down and be on your knees, because you're having to really look at life three-dimensionally, and there's no good lighting director. I'm not a bad person to have sitting next to you pouring you some very good red wine.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because, I know the lighting director very, very well, and we know what he and she can do, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
And sometimes that's actually quite dangerous information, because we all know how they can light a double gin. But the bottom line is there's a double gin.
I mean, as much as things like that happening, although there was, you didn't need to be humbled by it. It settled. It seemed to, there was a certain realization there, perhaps on your part, as to, how much control you really had.
Yeah, I think it was, of course it's humbling, and yet at the same time it transcends that, because that's sort of a, humbling can also be when, you do something and everybody acknowledges that you've done something, and it's about you seeing your own mortality. I think helpless is a word, because no matter what favors I can pull for, not a whole lot of things if you and I are honest. I mean, I guess I have favors I can pull for some probably ridiculous things. I mean, Ahmed Erdogan, I could call him, but I get arrested in a fucking Turkish jail. Probably not for drugs, though. They wouldn't let me out. But, I mean, it would have to be for, I don't know, something like carrying around my David Cassidy CD. But helpless in a way that nothing or anybody that I knew or could do myself, and I'm pretty capable when I put my mind to it, could save the life of the baby. And I think there's something that happens when something like that happens. There can be. I mean, some people just go, oh, well, didn't want it anyway, next.
Probably from a fatalistic point of view as well,
Because I was connected to the being,
yes.
It obviously affected us in a way that, if we weren't connected and we hardly knew about it, we might not have had the same feelings. And I accept that, but we were very, very connected, and we thought we were out of the woods, and on the story goes. But I think one thing that it made me really kind of come into terms with was how fleeting life is and how really fragile it is.
But I mean, as in, as you've done with each of your albums, it's almost as if you've taken a circumstance or a situation, you've then put it to music, and you've risen above it, but through the aid of the music. It's almost saying, okay, well, look, you've been beaten down, you've been put through through tremendous strain, but this is your way of liberating yourself from it.
I always take what's kind of going on with me to the music. That's what I've always done.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll do that, like, as I age, and, God knows what's going to cross my plate. But I think that the music, as you say, has always made me try and come to terms with it in a way that just three-dimensionally talking about it, you don't come to terms with. I don't anyway.
No. As I say, and I mean, to the point now that you've got you've got Choirgirl out. Does it put demons to rest for you? When you put an album out like this on the back of what has happened?
Well, it integrates it in a way that, like Boys for Pele, I know it's a very depressing record, but I really took that record in, however painful it was, and tried. I mean, it's hard for me to listen to that record.
Sure.
And
yeah, that's honest.
Tried to really get the girl that was singing those songs and what she was saying to me. And I think I understood her, so that when this came in my life, and I'd sung these songs every night, and not all musicians, and either way, okay, not all musicians integrate their material. I mean, sometimes I'll meet musicians going, oh, obviously we all listen to your record, but you. And you're still an asshole, and yet thank you for the information. But hopefully, you learn from the work that's visiting you. I had an interview this morning with an Australian who I was very, very tough on, which it's so easy to be tough on Australians. Especially the men.
Yes, yeah.
You understand, they understand, I nailed him, and he knows I nailed him. But the thing is, I started interrogating him as an interviewer, and he was like saying it's not fair, and I was just, playing with him like a cat with a mouse. What do you mean it's not fair? Yeah, I'm like, if you're going to be interviewed, I'm not a bad person to interview you, because I might actually have some compassion for your life. But he said to me something like, a lot of people think that, he said this, I think, the reference to losing the baby was just one more thing I could market.
No, you don't do that,
And I said, do you have a child? And he said, yes, I do. I said, have you lost a child? And he said, no, I haven't. I said, you've just crossed the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, sometimes it can get ugly. And yet, when I put it back in their lap, sometimes they have a real hard time going, that's not really fair, Tori, playing that way. I said,
Absolutely.
Interesting you find that when it's put in your lap.
Yeah, correct. I mean, and I think that's, any kind of criticism, that has ever been, pointed at any of your albums, to me, it's not to say that, that anyone is wiser than the next, but obviously don't get, what it is that you're trying to say through your music. And it's it's a case of, even if you don't fully understand it, you have to respect, you have to respect the medium and obviously the personality behind it, because, these are very real things for you.
Yeah.
It is a bit strange, but then again, as I say, unfortunately we only come a close second to Australians. So.
I don't know. I mean, I think I can find you some pretty hardened people, men and women. Women blow your mind all over the world. Kate, the guitarist, and I have many talks about. For every chauvinist pig you'll find in Germany, we can match that in America, and they'll all be women.
True. But as I say, at the point that you are now, I'm sad that I'm going to be missing your American tour. As I say,
oh God, we're there till the end of November.
Yeah, I'm going to do my damnedest to get across, because you've still to come and visit us here in South Africa.
Yeah, I know, and it's if you and I are really honest, it's always embarrassing why. It's the agents and the bookings and bringing 35-man, woman crew over and what that means, and it just makes me nauseous when it has to become about that.
Yeah. And I mean, now that you're traveling around with a band, that doesn't make it any easier, I'm sure.
No, because I can't just say, okay, fuck off now. The music doesn't feel that way either, do you know? I mean, I can't play this album without them. That's the funny thing about when you play live with the band. Some promoters are saying, oh, just tell Tori to come on her own. And John, who is, of course, always my conscience, says, well, could you record them? Did you ever play them without a band? And it's like, actually, no.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I mean, how's that been for you? I mean, actually, taking it out and playing, with a group of musicians, and not having just you, there. I mean, as much as you've used, even on the live video, which I managed to pick up. I mean, you have accompaniment, but now you have a full band.
It's a whole nother thing. That's why I really hope you come to the States and hear it, because the funny thing is when people think, like I have a gratuitous drummer and a bit of a backbeat, that's kind of funny, because you gotta know. If Zeppelin was my influence, you have to know that I'm a wannabe Jimmy Page, so you've got to know. They do it better than I'll ever do it, but you know what? I do understand testosterone in a way they don't.
Which is good. Yeah. Now, if, as I say, because I know you're short on time, Tori, but just as far as, where you are now, after having released the album and having played it to an audience, the feedback, that I've been reading just all over the shows, and I mean, that's always very, biased on one side or whatever, but how do you feel about the album?
I think it was just another step, not backwards. Hopefully I accumulated different things from all three records. Some you hear and some you don't. Some you sense, With Pele, you don't hear it, but you sense it. Obviously something happened to that girl who sang that record to this record, because she's obviously cutting live with the drummer, whereas on the other one, as much as Manu Tetri begged me to recut everything when he finally fucking showed up, I looked at him and I didn't have the confidence to do that. So now I would be, well, scrap it, and if we don't have the, the bottom end, and if we don't have the groove, then erase it.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't there. So obviously, all the records have had an influence. Some you can't hear. Is that your phone?
That's my phone, but don't worry, it'll go well.
But isn't that fantastic?
It is.
I love it when a journalist has to go. Johnny's telling me we have to go.
You have to as well. Thank you very much for your time.
You were wonderful. Thank you.
And congratulations.
Okay.
And I will do my best to get to the States. Yeah.
Please, and if you do get to the States, please let John Witherspoon know, because I'd love you to come backstage and say hi. That would just be so wonderful.
That would be a dream come true.
Okay, well, we'll see. Cross our fingers.
Lovely.
Okay.
Thank you again for your time.
Bye-bye.